Welcome to our presentation, Post-Pandemic Possibilities for Education in the Arts Using Virtual Reality. We're streaming to you from Thunder Bay, Ontario, and are grateful to be living on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe peoples of the Fort William First Nation, signatories to the Robinson Superior Treaty of 1850. I'm Tashya Orasi, a PhD student in Educational Studies at Lakehead University.
And I'm Pauline Sameshima, Professor and Canada Research Chair in Arts Integrated Studies, also at Lakehead. We consider how our research in virtual reality contributes to the larger conversation on the impacts and trajectories of teaching and learning in higher education through the COVID pandemic, and how reconceptions of creative literacies through digital learning can shape future practices and research in art education. As virtual reality technology expands into and beyond mobile learning contexts, creative literacy will thrive in pedagogical spaces that value futures thinking and futures literacies. Elliot Eisner says, what we look for and what we know how to say is constrained by the tools we know how to use. If indeed the choice of the tool is what enables different possibilities for answers, virtual reality is one whereby moving beyond engaging with the present, educators can co-envision, co-inhabit, and co-create a future life world.
Considering the question, is digital learning and art education here to stay? We assert that a promising post-pandemic practice for education and research in the arts is from collaborative and immersive art making in virtual reality. While these technologies have become increasingly accessible in North America, they are as yet largely an underexplored site for the development of creative literacies and uptake in higher education. Making art in VR can provide for new orientations in pedagogical thinking in the arts, changes what we as art educators have come to understand as educational spaces, and even asks us to rethink how meaning making is made through the visual arts for students and teachers alike. Our team included Emily DeSummer-Dennis and used Google Tiltbrush to investigate creativity and pedagogical spaces for the development of creative literacy. The video, Spatial Entrances, is a result of that process where we collaboratively painted in VR as we discussed our experiences as artists, teachers, and researchers, and engaged in the evolving virtual rendering. Here is Spatial Entrances.
While we created spatial entrances just weeks before the pandemic social distancing began for us in March 2020, the experience generated new perspectives to examine the context of shaping future practices in art education post-pandemic, particularly pertaining to the intersections of creative expression, learning space, and the importance of gaze in artistic pedagogies. Profoundly, it embraces the view of digital education that moves away from the traditional consumptive nature of digital technologies, evolving the educational landscape into one that is reciprocal, co-inhabited, and co-created. Multi-literacies that consider empowering attitudes and access to skills, tools, and options allow the learner to make meaning from various texts.
Data analysis in VR also provokes new possibilities for educational research using the arts and enables a view of data construction and analysis that places a researcher within the data itself. Creating in VR provided us with the opportunity to both imagine and inhabit the space of where new understandings of data were created and communicated. As a revolutionary opportunity for the enhancement of educational practice and digital learning in the arts, VR has the potential to increase student agency, access, equity, online engagement, and facilitate the transmission of knowledge between teachers and students in new and exciting ways. As a co-created educational space to engage with data and each other, painting in VR allows for the evolution of new creative and pedagogical languages that are entangled, reciprocal, and reparative, and especially needed in these pandemic times.